All right, so one of the things I want to talk about is actually the main water supply to the home. So as you can see right here, okay, there's a couple things that I want you to be aware of with the main water supply. So this is actually a 2-inch line. It brings in water to the house. So the way it goes here is the main water line, right? From the city, comes through this way, comes here, goes into the house, directly to the hot water heater. Now, one of the things that you have to ask, right, with the builder, and you have to take a look at, is this line right here. What is this line? This is actually your irrigation line. Some builders may not include this. This is actually an upgrade. This is a plus at no cost. So this is something I definitely would take a look at. So this is how it works. Water comes in here. As you can see how this valve runs flush with this pipe. That means water runs through. This is your pressure valve, okay? This is where you can adjust the flow of the water. And typically, it should be about 65 to 70 pounds per square inch. Now, this line that right here that you want to take a look at, this is for your irrigation line. So what happens is when you ever leave your home on vacation, it's always nice to pull this handle up so that way no water is running into your home. Now, when you do that, you definitely have to make sure that you seal all your toilets and all your sewage line, because if you're leaving for a month, that water is going to end up drying up. Then when you come back home, then you can smell the sewage. So this is what we call winterizing your pipes, okay? Now when this is off, this valve will always still be on. And when you leave for a month, by having this on, you're not going to kill your plants. Your plants will always be watered. So this is something that I would definitely take a look at to see builders will actually include this. A lot of builders won't, but this builder like D.R. Horton, they also include this, which is a nice feature to have. Now, I've also seen some builders add this new feature, which is, I think it's really cool. The system is actually called Evo. You might want to take a look at this. There's a system that actually connects to this main line, right? And it connects right about here, right next to the valve. And what this system is, it's connected through Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Actually, it's connected through Wi-Fi. So the system really takes a look at how much water flow is coming through your home, and also really it reads how much water you're constantly using. It kind of adapts to your lifestyle. And let's just say if you are going on vacation and the system recognizes that it's unusual that water is constantly running, it may detect a leak. You'll get an alert through an app, and it will automatically shut off the valve, or you'll have the option to shut off the valve. And also what's great about the app, it also tells you how much usage of water you're using. So I think it's actually a pretty cool system to prevent any like future leaks and stuff like that. So I will have a link in the description below. You guys can pick that up and add it on anytime that you guys want. However, keep in mind, if you start messing with the plumbing, especially with a brand new home, you could actually void the whole warranty throughout the whole house on your plumbing. So just keep that in mind. Also, a quick tip, if you are planning on adding that system as far as an aftermarket part, find out who the plumber is for this builder. Typically out here in Las Vegas, it's probably going to be a Focus Plumbing. If so, use the same plumbers that actually had plumbed the home. So that way, if you ever run into any type of warranty problems, now you can go back to the builder and say, hey, I've used the same plumber that you guys had used. So here's the sewage line to the main house. So all your gray water will run through here. This allows the plumber to snake the house. But what's important here is that you need to ask the builder, is there a backflow valve? But before I get into it, what is a backflow valve, okay? All the water runs, sewage line runs through this pipe right here. And it goes right into the sewage line. Now, have you guys ever seen those shows, or have you ever seen like videos where all the comes right back into the house, floods the house?
Yeah.
Next thing you know, it just becomes a mess. So somewhere along the line here, right, there's a valve that flaps like this, actually flaps out. So let's just say you have all the sewage coming out here, going into the sewage line, if the sewage line ever gets backed up, this backflow valve will stop here and it would prevent the backflow to come into your house. So that's something I definitely would ask and look out for. Another thing you just need to be aware of when it comes to the warranty for something like this, a lot of people will use those flushable wipes. Believe it or not, it is true that it is biodegradable. The problem is that the gray line here, right, the sewage line, it's only about a 3-inch pitch. That pitch is just like this. But the problem is we're talking about 20-40 feet of line. So by the time you flush your toilet, understand that inside this gray line it's not constantly filled with water. So what happens is every time somebody flushes the toilet or uses the sink, water will push all that debris and hit that flap. But what happens is when you have this flap here and then you have toilet paper, or when you have these flushable wipes, they can actually get stuck somewhere along the line. And when you don't use the water, right, what happens is it can actually dry up against the wall of the sewage line. And what happens is when you use another one, it starts build out, and then eventually what happens is now you could be pushing the water all the way back into your house. I actually had a client that did that, and they literally had to spend all this money and void the warranty with their new home build. So flushable wipes are not great, okay? Just something to keep in mind. All right, another thing that you should be asking the builder what's included, you get this soft water loop. What is a soft water loop? This allows you to connect to the main system of the house, so that way you can get soft water, okay? Some systems now will also include a purification system too as well. This system right here, just to add this, depending on which builder that you go to, some builders will charge you $675 all the way up to $750. It's a case by case with one builder to another. I feel like this should be included. A lot of builders will include it. There are some builders out there like Pulte that they'll actually charge you. Another thing I would actually ask the builder what's included, right, is your hot water. Is it a tankless water heater or a tank just like this, right? Hot water heater. Now, a couple things that you have to double check. If it is one that has a tank like this, how many gallons? And that's going to be based upon how big your home is. And typically a home this size is roughly about, 4,000 square feet. You should have at least a 60 gallon. So this is where you have to double check on. This one is a 75 gallon, and you can just see right here, it shows it right here on the label right here. Now, there are pros and cons to a tankless water heater, right? So with a tankless water heater, if that is included, one thing I want you to keep in mind is that a lot of these tankless water heaters, right, people think you get instant hot water. That's false information. A home at this size of about 4,000 square feet, you may have a 50-foot line that goes to the sink in the primary bedroom. So you may not get the hot water right away. However, once the hot water gets there, it's probably gonna take a good 15, 20, even 30 seconds. But once you get hot water, what's nice about it, you consistently get hot water. You can literally leave it running. Now, with this right here, the benefits with a tank is that if the power shuts off, on a tankless hot water heater, it will not work because the power shut off. Here, this is mechanic, which means that hot water is in here, okay? It's consistently cycling, and you can change the temperature and also cycle this every 1 or 2 hours, so that way you constantly have hot water. Now, let's just say the power goes off. You still have hot water. You've got 75 gallons of it, so that's the benefit. However, aesthetically, it doesn't look that pleasing. However, on this one, what's nice about it is also tucked away. So it's just something to be aware of. All right, another thing that's very important to the home is actually the insulation of the home, okay? So first of all, what is insulation? So I want you to think about this. On the exterior of the walls, okay, it's about 18 inches. In between the 18 inches, you have to have something that's in between, and this is what actually keeps your home nice and cool from the hot summer heats out here in Las Vegas. Now, the insulation is only on the perimeter of the exterior walls. So I want you to think about it like this. Let me turn Rudy around here, okay? So here is the house, as you can see, right? So basically the insulation will only be on the outside of the perimeter of the house. So think of it as this, okay? You know your refrigerator, okay? You open it up, it's nice and cool on the inside, but then when you shut it, it's completely insulated. That's how a home actually works with air conditioning. Now, the standard upgrade here that's required by code is R13 around the perimeters. Now, inside the attic is actually R30, okay? And that's efficient enough to keep your home nice and cool. Now, a couple things that you need to be aware and you need to ask the builder, okay? Is it blown-in insulation or is it batten insulation? Then some people ask, what's the difference, right? So with batten insulation, it's more of a fiberglass. Blown-in insulation are these little fibers, right, that they blow inside the attic and sometimes also in the walls. A lot of builders out here won't blow the insulation inside the walls. Now, there are some builders in different cities that will actually do foam as well, insulation. And that's probably the best. The only downfall with that is later on, if you want to run some wires, it's going to be very hard. Now, you do have the option to do an upgrade on the perimeter of the walls to an R15, but that will cost you more money. Also, if you do an upgrade from an R30 to a R38 inside the attic, that also will cost you money. However, I feel like it's money well spent, but then you're gonna find out how much does it cost to upgrade these things, right, from one builder to another. Now, if you decided that you are gonna do the blown-in insulation because that is an option inside the attic, one thing that you have to find out is how many inches is equivalent to the R38, right? So typically when you do blown-in insulation inside the attic, it should be a minimum 8 inches from the stud to give you that R rating, because the higher the R rating is, it just tells you the more efficient that insulation will be. Now, another thing that you have an upgrade option here is, let me show you here, Rudy. If we zoom in on just a little bit more here, you see the interior walls? Yeah. You do have the option to do insulation in the interior of the walls. Now, they say that it doesn't work as far as efficiency. I would actually have to disagree. I feel like it does work. And it also muffles the sound from one wall to another wall. I would highly recommend it. Another quick tip that you need to be aware of, because this is a 2-story home, right? With a 2-story home, you have the garage. Now, with the garage, as you can see, we have a loft above the garage. Now, let me show you. Come here. Right above us on this floor plan is actually a loft, okay? Now, you need to find out if you insulate your garage now, right? Does it also insulate the subfloors above us and the loft, right? This is important because sometimes builders may say, hey, we'll give you an extra upgrade, or you have the option to do the exterior of the garage, but they won't do the subfloors. If you get this, you need to make sure you get the subfloors. Now, you don't have to do the garage because remember, the perimeter of the wall is here to your house. But the question is, why would I actually do the garage? Well, because sometimes people work in their garage. If that's the case, you probably want to get it insulated. Also, when we're talking about the attic, okay, one thing that you also need to make sure is, does the home come with a radiant barrier? Now, what is a radiant barrier? It's basically a plywood that's underneath the roof line that has a metal type of seal that you can see, and it reflects the heat. It really holds in it, right? So it just gives you a better R rating. Not all builders will give you a radiant barrier. Now, radiant barriers are pretty much hard to come by nowadays, and a lot of builders will not give you radiant barrier, but it's an option. It's something that you need to be asking and looking out for. All right, let's talk about structural of the home. What type of construction materials and products you're going to be getting with the home. When it comes to the structural, one thing I would like to ask is, does this come up with 2x4s or 2x6? With the 2x6 is a lot better, okay, than 2x4s. But typically, a lot of builders will use the 2x4s. It also, depending on the construction of the home, and what code requires. Now, if you have a single story home, that's like 3,500 square feet, chances of you getting a 2x6 is very high, especially with a 12-foot ceiling. So it's gonna be a case-by-case basis. So like on this home right here, that's around 4,000 square feet, you will have 2x4 and 2x6. So some of the perimeter walls will have that 2x6, but the interior walls will be 2x4. This is something that you definitely need to ask the builder, so that way you guys can compare apples to apples. All right, another thing that you should be asking a builder when you're comparing one to another, what do you get standard with the home? This is important. For an example, like the flooring here that you see. The flooring, you're not gonna get this flooring throughout, and that's common. Typically, builders will give you only in the wet areas, as far as like the kitchen, the laundry room, and the primary and the regular bathroom, okay? All this is an additional upgrade, but also, whatever comes with standard, you wanna see the materials that you get. Another thing is that the kitchen, right? The kitchen is like one of the main focal points of the home, one of the most expensive rooms in the home. So you wanna see what kind of kitchen cabinets that you get, and also the color variations, but also more importantly, the size. Are you getting a 36-inch or a 42-inch, okay? Then another thing you want to take a look at is actually electrical to the home. This is most important, because when you walk into a model home, a lot of people think that you get all this stuff, but unfortunately you don't get all this stuff, right? So this is how you compare one apple to another apple. And I'm also talking about low voltage too as well. What is low voltage? Basically, low voltage is you get security systems with the home, right? You get additional surround sounds with the home, okay? These are the things that you need to be asking and comparing one builder to another builder. So another important question you need to ask the builder is the AC unit, right? What brand you're getting. There's a lot of different brands out there, and a lot of builders now are using probably Goodman or actually Lennox. Now, how do we know which is the best brand? Now for me, Trane is like top tier. Then from there, I would say Carrier, then Lennox, then Goodman, right? They all have like their special features of what they can do. Now, when it comes to a home, a couple things that you have to take a look at, like this one actually has 2 condensers, because this home is like 4,000 square feet, right? You need 2 condensers. There are some 2-story homes that only has 1 condenser. That could actually be a problem, and here's why. Is because sometimes when it gets so hot out here in Las Vegas and your thermostat is downstairs and you have a temperature turn all the way down to 69 degrees, but then when you go upstairs it's a whole completely different temperature. And the reason why is because the AC is running and the thermostat is downstairs. The thermostat ends up kicking off because it reads the temperature downstairs, not upstairs. That's the reason why you need to check, is it 1 or 2 zones, and you get a second thermostat for free, or they actually charge you. Another thing that you should be looking out for is the SEER rating on these things, right? What is the SEER ratings? The standard SEER ratings, according to building code, is 13 and up. Some builders will only give you 13, some will give you 14, some may only give you 16. However, just a quick tip here. If you are being sold a 13 SEER, make sure when you do your home inspections, ask the inspector, what is the SEER ratings? Where do you get that? It's from a label back here, okay? Let's show them this label right here. So this label right here breaks everything down, and it lets you know what that SEER rating is. All right, so the final and last thing that you need to be asking the builder, and this is the most important part, is actually the warranty, right? Some builders will give you a 1, 3, 5, and a 10-year warranty. The warranties are all different across the board, especially when you look at a 10-year warranty. A lot of times people are misled thinking that you literally get a 10-year warranty on the home. No, it's just the foundation of the home. You also may get a 1-year bumper to bumper. You may only get a 5-year on certain items. Now, appliances, as a quick tip, appliances, you're not getting a warranty through the builder, you're getting it through the manufacturer. Same thing with the windows, and that's the reason why it's so important to actually have a real estate agent that really understands what's going on and how things actually work. So that's pretty much it. If you guys like more videos like this, let us know in the comments below, but most importantly, hit that subscribe button and also give us a thumbs up.